Hello everybody, hope you guys are enjoying your day. Today we're going to be looking at this next incoming shot of snow, which is going to be impacting areas into the lower Ohio Valley, through the plains, and then back through the Tennessee Valley, where you are going to be experiencing up to about 1 to 4 inches of snowfall. A couple isolated areas could get up to about 5, 6, 7 inches. I am not making a snowfall or rainfall forecast on this event because it is not going to be a major event. Many of these locations will just receive a dusting to 2 inches of snowfall, so really it's not a huge event. And usually I like to do these snowfall forecasts when I expect a large area to see over 6 inches of snowfall, or when the Weather Channel names these systems, and they did not name this system as of when I'm recording this, so I'm not going to make a snowfall forecast on this just yet. I potentially will if the Weather Channel names this, but most likely it doesn't look like they're going to name the system. Not a huge system, but it'll be a nice relief from all this wet weather that you've been seeing over many of these areas that will be impacted with some snowfall. So here's your current National Weather Service. We have some winter storm watches as well as some winter storm warnings there for areas into Montana, Idaho, and into the higher elevations of Washington State, where you are going to be experiencing up to about a foot to maybe a foot and a half of snowfall of this system, which is you have an upper level low pressure system that's up over Montana and into southwestern Canada. This is also going to play a part in this. You're going to see this dip south, and this will allow this system to grow and eventually move out to the east. We also have flood watches there for the southwest in Arizona, Nevada, and Southern California, which storm watches there for the higher elevations of California. You're going to be impacted with that same system. Winter storm watches and winter storm warnings there for Nebraska and Kansas, where you will be impacted with this storm system, and it will be a little bit more significant. Tornado watches in those yellows there for Illinois, Indiana, through Kentucky, Tennessee, and into Missouri. Flood watches there for Kentucky, even parts of West Virginia, and then through into southernmost Ohio and Indiana, and winter storm watches there for northernmost Maine. Now we are going to get into your Weather Prediction Center's surface analysis map. We do have a weaker low pressure system down here trying to kind of split off from this upper level low pressure system to the north, which is really moving very far to the north. I talked about this in a previous video, and I kind of mentioned it. This system, which is currently all the way up here, and it is going to be traveling all the way to the north up to around south of James Bay, all the way up here in Canada. This system was from the GFS model just about a week or a week and a couple of days ago, showing this system sliding to the south, moving across areas into Kentucky, West Virginia, and Virginia, and then sliding to the south and providing snowfall for this area right here. And look at what's happening now. It's going to be mainly a rain event for a lot of people, and snowfall on the very northern edge, which will be a very small area. And the GFS model was showing 18 inches of snowfall a week ago, so it really goes to show you how much these models can change, and how you can never really trust them too much, and you can't put too much faith into them. You really have to eventually you have to come in and forecast yourself without putting all your forecasts right on the model and hoping the models are correct. Sometimes you actually have to forecast, I guess, and actually make your own forecast. And when I do my maps, that's what I try to do, and kind of take the model data and then kind of interpret it into my own way and try and see what I think is actually going to happen. Now here's your European model forecast. Now it's going to be the system again. You have a low pressure system over areas into Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Washington State, and then through Alberta and into British Columbia. This is going to be dipping south, merging with this larger low pressure system to the south. You can see it spinning away right here, and this is going to be moving to the north and east, and you'll see quite a big system arise over this area. Now, this would be by tonight, and now getting through Friday, you're seeing the system continue. You have this snowfall continuing over areas into the central Rockies, starting to move out into the plains. Now, as we get into Saturday, you start to see South Dakota, Nebraska, Wyoming, Montana still getting in on some snowfall. Heavy to moderate snowfall being indicated there in those darker and deeper shades of blue. This would be by Saturday morning now, and now getting to Saturday afternoon, starting to move over Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, with some heavy to moderate snowfall, but not very widespread. And a couple days ago, the models are showing this a little bit further south, moved a little bit further to the north. So now that boundary is over the northernmost part of Missouri, central Illinois, central/southern parts of Indiana, and then kind of moving there into Ohio. Now, as we get to Sunday morning, starts to really break apart. Mainly rain, heavier rain there for the southeast. But you see by Sunday morning, it's really breaking apart there, and it's by the time it hits the coast, it's pretty much all said and done with mainly a rain event. And then you have another system reloading, and the European model wants to do something big over the plains, which actually, if this were to come true, I actually forecasted an event like this in my March forecast. You see a lot of these types of systems, and I'll move forward to that event. You see a lot of these systems like this where it kind of goes from north to south, and they kind of cut across the center of the country, and it actually brings a lot of snow to these areas. You saw this earlier in about October and November, I forget which month, but I did make a video on that, and it was your first named winter storm, and it cut through this same exact area, and it brought about 3 feet of snowfall. So potentially we could see a repeat of that. Again, it's pretty far out in the models. This would be by next Friday. So again, very far out, but definitely something to watch and keep your eye on. And I'm definitely going to be forecasting on that, making probably a snowfall forecast on that if it does actually come out, because it is quite a big and impressive looking system. Now, here's the total snowfall amounts, and you're seeing over the west quite a bit of snowfall. But as you get into the plains, you're seeing maybe 5 to 8 inches, and then getting through areas into the Ohio Valley and the Ozarks, you're seeing maybe a dusting to a couple isolated spots, seeing 2 to maybe 2.5, 3 inches of snowfall. Definitely something that'll help if you are a snow lover in these areas. You'll definitely get some snowfall. It's been quite a lackluster winter for many of you guys, and definitely you guys have been telling me about that in the comments, and I like to respond to all your comments. So if you do have any questions with this system, definitely leave them down below. But a lot of you guys have been complaining on some snowfall. Maybe if you live in some of these areas, you could get a cheap thrill and get maybe an inch or 2 of snowfall out of this, maybe a dusting or so, but definitely something that'll be a little refreshing from all this warm and humid weather that you guys have been receiving. Now, here's your National Weather Service forecast. This only goes through Sunday morning, so this doesn't cover the entirety of this event. You can see the easternmost extent is so far moving through Missouri and Illinois and much of Iowa, but this is going to continue to move further to the east as they continue this. Most likely by tomorrow, we'll have their full forecast out on this, because they only like to go about 3 days in advance with their snowfall forecast. Now, you see 5 to 6 inches already being indicated there over Nebraska, and you see a dusting kind of reaching out there. Over parts of the west, you're seeing maybe a foot to a foot and a half there in some of those higher peaks, and some of those extremely high elevations could see up to 2 feet of snowfall. Now, a little bit of a surprise with this video, I am going to be starting to talk about the severe weather just at the end of the video real quick, because we do have quite a major update. We do have now an enhanced risk there for Kentucky, Tennessee, southernmost Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri, and through northern Arkansas. An enhanced risk. If you saw my last video yesterday, we had a slight risk only in these regions, and something that really stood out to me is this: your tornado risk, and you're seeing a 10% hatched area of seeing a tornado within a 25-mile radius of your location, of any given location, if you do live in this yellow hatched area. And the hatched area, that indicates tornadoes that they are expecting to be greater than EF2. So EF2 to EF5 tornadoes are being indicated here from the Storm Prediction Center, and they're putting a 10% chance there of seeing those, 5% chance surrounding that, which is still fairly high, and even a 2% chance that still gives you some sort of chance, and still you have to be alert. But definitely, if you live in that 5 to 10% area, you should definitely be alert with this. Now, wind also caught my eye. 30% chance there, mainly over northern Tennessee, much of western Kentucky, and into southernmost Indiana and Illinois. And then through your hail, you're seeing much of that over northern Arkansas and southeastern Missouri. Looking at tomorrow, all of that was today, and now looking at tomorrow, your main threat not associated with the system down through Texas, but that system wrapping up, and it's providing some severe weather for the coastal locations of the northeast and mid-Atlantic, seeing a little bit of severe thunderstorms, but you see no risks with that if you do live in the northeast. If you live in Texas, you are experiencing some potential wind, hail, tornadoes, but again, those threats aren't too large except for your tornado risk, where you have a 2% chance in that green, 5% chance in the brown, around of seeing a tornado within a 25-mile radius of any given point within that shaded area. Now, here is your CAPE, your convective available potential energy, measured in joules per kilogram. This is indicating how much energy you have in the atmosphere. Usually you want to see above 1,000 for a decent thunderstorm, and you do actually have a couple areas popping up there with about 1,000 or so joules per kilogram, but it's really going to be borderline. You're mainly going to be hovering right around 500 to 1,000. You see nothing really too crazy. Once you get to the grays, that's really a weak thunderstorm at best. But really, southeast Missouri and northern Arkansas, again, you saw with that hail threat, with that increased energy, you could actually get a little bit more hail out of this, like the Storm Prediction Center is indicating. Now, as we continue, this mainly dies out by Friday. That would all be for Friday, for Thursday night, getting into Friday. Now, this is going to wrap up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turn on notifications, as it greatly supports the channel and it really helps me continue to do what I'm doing. Now, this is going to wrap up the video. Please consider doing all those things, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.